is a pair of nail clippers. And if you have ones that aren't caved in, I don't know if you can see that there's this one kind of cuts in, this one is out. The cut in is good for your nails. Works really good. The ones that are out works good for this stuff so that you can get a closer, more flat trim. Because then after doing those, don't steal it from your mom or your girlfriend. Then you can just file it down a bit just to make it smooth. You don't want to leave extra stuff on there because it could possibly catch. People don't realize the precision that goes into cars, and that the finest minute little details can affect the entire thing. And a lot of people don't realize that. Figure, oh, it just gets me from point A to point B. Yeah, well, there's a ton of research and R&D and all that's gone into them. Okay, so this part goes onto the servo itself. The saver spring is technically what it is. Snaps on. It's going to be on there pretty good and tight, which is a good thing. And then this goes on the rest of it. And so now, technically, there is the entire servo saver assembly. And so see, this looks different than what they have pictured there. So I don't know which one it's supposed to be. D5. Back D. I'm just double checking because I've assembled a lot of things, and it's always better to double check things now to make sure you're assembling it right. Then get it all assembled and put together, and then realize, oh shoot, I messed up on something, and then have to take half of it apart to fix the problem. And it's a good thing I did. So that's apparently... Oh, you know what? Okay, I think I know what that one's from. Okay, so I am actually needing this piece. It's going to replace this front one here. That piece. Okay, so on here it says, okay, half of this manual is in Japanese. I don't know a lick of Japanese, so that's part of the reason why. But on here, that piece is labeled D5. Well, I didn't realize, like I said, it's been a while since I've built anything, that this is parts tree D, and then this is part number 5. So That I now know for sure is the correct piece. Me personally, I prefer using the razor just because it gets it a hair bit smoother. Okay, now next one it says is P4. Which is the saver portion itself. So it snaps onto there. Well, kind of snaps. Presses onto there. And okay. And then this piece will still be, I'm pretty sure is still going to be the piece that I'll use, just because this is the one that connects to the servo. So this piece, these I'm thinking are for if somebody was putting the manual speed control in it, is what I'm thinking that they're for. So I won't be using those because I'm using the electronic speed control, ESC. So this would go together like that, I'm assuming. Yeah, because the picture, it was looking different with having the little bar go across it. I don't know if you can see it. But then it also has kind of a back on it to be a little bit stronger. So, okay. So, actually, for opening the bags of screws, I have a bunch of different random containers. They have multiple cubbies. Good idea for them, especially in this kind of scenario. So there's a sway bar for on the front, because it can help to keep it organized. So, like, okay, this is bag B, so I'm actually going to put it in the second spot. Bag A, add all that. Bag C can go there. Bag D there. Just like that. Now, double check and make sure that these are clear, or there's nothing left on them, and then you can throw them away. There have been so many times doing like plastic models that I've not done that, and I wound up throwing away a part. I wound up throwing away a part, and I wound up kicking myself real fast after that. Okay, so what I did now is, because I put them in here to help keep them organized and sorted, I cut what bag number it was, and I'm going to put that in with it so that I know which is which. Cutting board, just so I don't cut through the towel. So that one was bag B, so we can go there. Some people might think I'm OCD on organization, but I am clinically blind. I have a really bad blind spot on my right. It'll be on that side for you guys, I think. That affects how my vision of that. And so I have been more organized because people that are blind, part of the way that they have learned to get around is they know that certain things are supposed to be in certain spots. And so they're used to that way of operating, of doing things. And so then in turn, they are still able to do stuff. Okay, so back at it. So bag B has several. There's a bunch of the pins. Okay. So I guess it's probably going to be these little tiny dudes. Oh, you're doing it weird. Okay, so I am going to be using those. 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 Just throw it on. Okay, so go through the back side. And this is actually my, not counting my dad's that was lost, this is my first Tamiya RC. So this is kind of a newer experience for me. I'm not doing these super tight, but I am making sure that they are tight. Okay. And these actually screw on. I didn't expect that. That's kind of cool. These look like they're brass. I don't know if they're heavier or what. I'm gonna get down there and don't worry, it didn't break. You just pop the saver off the back. Just like that. It's no big deal. So, okay. So that all looks like part of step 2. Step 1 was to charge the battery. So that looks like it was all part of step 2. So step 3. Okay. So that can go back in there. Those can go back in there. That can go in the trash. Okay, these are all out of bag B. A lot of people think I'm weird, but pill bottles, empty ones that you normally throw away, they work really good for putting parts in, keeping them contained. Because like if this gets bumped and spilt, at least in here, it's going to keep from losing any of these small little tiny parts. So we are going to put them in there. And because these were all part of bag B, we're going to go ahead and just let them be all together. And you can just take that whole thing, drop it in there, and be good to go. Okay, so we're going to set these aside for now. Alright. Oh, that's what that weird piece came from. Okay, so I need to find parts tree B. This one is parts tree D. It's parts tree B, and I need parts B6. Now when you see me setting these bigger trays off to the side, I'm actually putting them back into the box to keep everything contained and together. Like I said, I might be OCD, but it's how I keep from losing things. Alright, servo. So servo's going to go in that way. Come on, get out of there. See, this is what you don't see behind the scenes with a lot of RC YouTubers, RC Sparks and stuff. They edit out all the behind the scenes and the trying to get things out of the package and all that. Yes, I know this is going to be a very long live stream, but I don't really have anything else to do right now. And I figure, hey, it's something different for you guys. Okay, so a couple washers, a couple of screws, 3x8mm. So again, another good time for this. It's running 3x8. Okay, that's a lot longer than that. So I won't be using those screws. These washers, 3mm. So those, I think, will be used. These. Now what's weird is in the manual, it has these little shock posts, but it's showing that they can be mounted to the shock either way. And I'm going to guess that's going to push the servo, move the servo forward a bit, because you can see there's a slight gap, so it'll be mounted and it'll sit farther forward, or it can be mounted farther back. The size of the designated portion is shorter than 15mm attached. B6 upside down. Okay. Oh, okay. That's part of my blindness, not being able to see it. All right. So, got to measure the servo. So it's more than 15. So I'll be mounting the flush side. So it is to help to adjust it so that it is the right depth. So now I just got to find the actual screws. Because these screws, I believe, are too long. Because it's saying a 3x8, and these are 12. It's shorter than that. Those look like it could be it. So it goes that way. Butterfingers. Okay. I don't want to do those all the way tight down yet, just because you might need to adjust them a bit before getting them permanently mounted in. Come on, booger. Alright. There's those. Decent in there. All part of bag A, so it all goes in there. Okay, and then this, they're saying, is going to go over. Screensaver kicked in. Go over that. Okay. And because it's self-stick, I'm going to kind of wait on that until I get to the point of actually getting the servo mounted in, just because I don't want to risk not having this on there correctly. And so I want to go and make sure that it's going to be going in right. So now this is actually saying to plug in the servo, make sure it's centered. So we'll find out if this speed control is actually linked with this radio, if I need to do that. So, channel 2 is throttle. Channel 1, steering. Need a battery. That might help. Use this one that I just finished topping off. And I'm not running the old Tamiya plugs just because most of us know how bad those are. I'm running Dean's plugs on all mine. So radio's on. So there is movement there. Make sure that the steering trim on the radio, if you can see that, is centered. It's not super powerful or super fast, but it's there. So, servo is centered now. So now I can turn that back off, as we know it's where it needs to be. Just like that. Okay. So I did that. And now this piece is going to end up going on there. I'll get that foam block on there somehow. 5B6BA. I think I might actually end up having to use a different screw because this is Metal Gear and all the screws it looks like they're using are thicker thread for going into plastic. So hopefully you can see the thread, how it's really kind of coarse and big. And then the thread, how it's much thinner, smaller, finer. The finer threads are more for going into metal instead of into plastic. Well, I guess I'm not going to have any choice but to stick this on there. So, the best way I've found, and I have had good luck with it, is when doing anything that's self-stick. So whether it's mounting ESCs and stuff into the car, the biggest thing, and it's like with painting, is the prep. Make sure that it's prepped properly. And so I'm using rubbing alcohol. This is just what I got just because it's cheap. But use that to clean the surface where it's going to be getting stuck. Because you don't want any grease or oils or anything like that to be in there and hinder its ability to stick. That is why it's nice to have nails. Wish my wife would understand that. I don't know how it's one of the other edges to be done, but I'm not pressing those down just in case. That's going to go on. I'm not saying a coarse thread, but I can't do a coarse thread because I'm going into the metal. So extra screws are always a good thing. It's even better if you can keep them organized, though, so you can find them. So I'm going to thread in the screw manually by hand to make sure that it's actually going to fit. And not have issue. Going in. Okay. That one's actually too short. That one works. And I think for the most, I think the thread and stuff, I think it's going to generally be pretty well matched, so there's no issue. Perfect. Okay. So now, note that I might have an extra screw left over. Which I know that might sound bad, but hey, it happens. In this case, I know that it's from doing this one. Okay. So got that on there as best as it can be. Use extended receiver antenna. Net charge battery. Switch on transmitter. Switch on receiver. Trims and neutral. Slide steering reverse switch to normal. Steering wheel in neutral. Servo in neutral position. After attaching servo, reverse switch off RC units and disconnect connectors. Okay. And now it actually is showing that for the second servo that would have the manual speed control, that it would have an arm on it. It would have one like this. Not that big, but it would have one similar to that where it comes off on either end. It would go on the other second servo to control the manual speed control. But because I'm bringing it to the 21st century, don't have to worry about that. Because that extra servo and all that all fits into there. So that's kind of a nice change. So I can go by that. Alright, so with the servo still sitting this way, I get to put the links on. Okay, left to right. So I believe you're going to go on just like that. So I'm going to take this back off. Just because I don't want to mess up this foam, like I've already started to a bit right there. But keep in mind what position it is and keep in mind which one goes where. Dang. I might need to put this in my vise because I don't want to slip and mess something up. Or get a bigger hammer.